Well, that was ugly. The Bills fall 27-15 to the Pittsburgh Steelers to fall to 1-1 in the preseason, and we have a lot to discuss. I am Josh McCarty from Bills Chat, and let's get into all of it right now. The story of this game was sloppiness and penalties. The Bills had an incredible 12 penalties in the first half. At one point in time, they had a third and 34 because of penalties, and those penalties erased an absolute seed from Josh Allen to Gabe Davis that you'll see the highlights all over Twitter. It was just an absolute rope by Josh Allen, a great catch by Davis, but alas, it didn't count because of penalties. I will tell you right now that I do not overreact to preseason. I don't overreact when it's good. I don't overreact when it's bad. But I do think, for as much as it's easy to just roll your eyes and say it's nothing more than preseason, there are some things you can take out of it. One, I thought both tackles struggled a lot on the first team. Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown looked overmatched by the Steelers' front, and it wasn't much better on the inside either. I thought Connor McGovern had a really down game. The one bright spot on the offensive line, I thought, was rookie second round pick O'Cyrus Torrence. He started with the ones, played every snap that Josh Allen played, and then continued to play the remainder of the first half when Matt Barkley came in. He was very good, and it sure feels like that as much momentum as it felt like 2 weeks ago was in Ryan Bates' favor. O'Cyrus Torrence seems like he has a steady grip on this right guard job, and the Bills are going to be looking at a rookie right guard to kick off the season. Let's talk about the 17 snaps that Josh Allen played, and that does include plays that were called back by penalty, because I do think it's important to include those because the Bills intended for those plays to happen. Of those 17 plays, James Cook was on the field for 15 of them, and Latavius Murray only came in for two, one of which was a give up screen on that third and 34. You don't want to read too much into preseason, but it sure feels like James Cook might be a little closer to that bell cow running back for this team than a lot of us thought. I still don't think he's going to be a 250 touch guy, but I do think there is a chance that he exceeds the 188 carry high water mark that Devin Singletary had in his tenure with the Buffalo Bills. Wide receiver snap share was interesting as well. When you look at the guys after Davis and Diggs, who were very involved, 14 and 13 apiece, the next most was Deontay Hardy. He was out there for 8 of Josh Allen's 17 snaps. Trent Sherfield was out there for 4. Khalil Shakir was out there for 1. It sure feels like Khalil Shakir is falling down the pecking order on this wide receiver depth chart fast. Dalton Kincaid got 13 snaps with the first team, had a very nice night for himself. Not many Buffalo Bills shine tonight, but Dalton Kincaid was certainly one of them with some memorable moments. Kincaid just looks like the real deal. You can tell he has very smooth route running. He knows how to use leverage against the defensive backs. His nicest play of the game did come against a Steelers backup, but you can just tell he has a very strong feel for this game. Dawson Knox did not play, and that probably did impact his snap share a little bit. But everything we have learned about the Bills dating back to training camp is Dalton Kincaid is going to be involved and involved in a big way. It sure feels like this 11 and a half personnel usage we've been hearing about is going to be a focal point of this offense. Let's spin it around to the defense real quick, because this was a rough night for Tyrel Dodson. It felt like the middle linebacker job was his to lose when you combine the fact that Dorian Williams has been focusing exclusively on the weak side linebacker job. Balin Spector fell out of the middle linebacker mix a couple weeks ago, and then Terrell Bernard had the hamstring injury, leaving Tyrel Dodson as essentially the last man standing. The problem is, it was his job to lose. He might have lost it. He was bad tonight. On the Steelers' first drive, Warren goes for a long touchdown. When you go back and watch it, it sure looks like Tyrel Dodson is supposed to have outside contain. He and Matt Milano essentially end up in the same exact spot, allowing for an outside release where Warren is able to outrun Jordan Poyer to the pylon, and a long explosive run for the Steelers to get this night off. And you didn't see much of Dodson after that until the third or fourth quarter when he was playing with the second and third teamers. AJ Klein came in and played with the starting defense for multiple drives. I am not convinced that AJ Klein is going to be the Bills' starting middle linebacker, But if you think back to when the Bills brought him back, it felt like AJ Klein was always break glass in case of emergency, in case all these other options don't work out. Well, here we are, folks. It is August 19th, and it sure feels like whether it's injury, whether it's how they want to evolve this player in Dorian Williams' case, or whether it's performance, it might be time to break that glass and put AJ Klein in the lineup. The Bills are absolutely going to be paying attention to the waiver wire after the 53-man cutdown because they have to improve this middle linebacker situation. It does not feel like they have the answer in-house. That is incredibly disappointing for a team that has spent 2 day 2 picks on off-ball linebackers in the last 2 drafts. Speaking of the last 2 drafts, another rough night for Kaiir Elam. He did not get the start. It was Dane Jackson playing opposite Tre'Davious White. Christian Benford came in ahead of Kaiir Elam tonight in their rotation, but they all had time with the first team. Kaiir Elam had another pass interference penalty, this time in the end zone, that gave the Steelers a 1st and goal from the 1-yard line, trying to win a jump ball situation with Steelers rookie tight end Darnell Washington. And then Kaiir Elam gets beat on the touchdown. And then there was another really bad play on 3rd down where he gives inside leverage. It's just man-on-man press jam, and Calvin Austin gets off the line clean and has a free release against him and moves the chains. An overall bad night for Kaiir Elam. At this point in time, it would be an upset, in my opinion, if Dane Jackson is not the opening day starter. I also feel like if someone's going to take that job from him, it's going to be Christian Benford. Christian Benford had a PI call of his own, but also had a couple of moments of really good coverage. Right after the PI call, there was a play that he held leverage really well against the Steelers, making a pass go incomplete. I think at this point in time that if it's not Dane Jackson, it's going to be Christian Benford. And what happens with Kaiir Elam from this point on in his Bills career is going to be very, very interesting to track. We talked about Andy Isabella. He's been the talk of Bills Twitter. And for some, it's been kind of an eye roll, like, oh, here we go again. It's Brandon Riley, Duke Williams, Clarence Coleman all over again. But there have been reasons to believe that this time it's different. Andy Isabella does have a 2nd-round draft pedigree. He does have electric 4.3 speed that shows up when he's on the field. And he was catching passes from Josh Allen in practice this week. We saw more signs tonight that this might be a very real possibility that he makes this team because he returned the first 3 kickoff returns. He was a gunner on punts. And I just feel like when you look at that, the Bills are looking at him in kickoff situations. They're looking to see what he can do on special teams. You look at the fall of what's going on with Khalil Shakir. I don't know if the Bills are going to keep 7 wide receivers. I don't know if they're going to try to trade Khalil Shakir, but it sure feels like that it's at least a flip of the coin that Andy Isabella makes this roster. And I would not have thought those odds were nearly that high as little as a week ago. Another guy competing for a roster spot with a guy like Andy Isabella and Khalil Shakir is the Bills' rookie 5th-round draft pick, Justin Shorter. He led the team in receiving tonight. 5 catches, 47 yards, did have a touchdown. He had several big grabs in traffic. It was really nice to see him use his body to box out the defenders. On that touchdown, it was a poorly thrown ball by Kyle Allen. He had to turn around and catch it in his lap. But you want to see that from Justin Shorter. You know he's going to help you on special teams. He also was working as a gunner tonight. Justin Shorter is a guy that should earn a jersey on game day for how he can impact the game on special teams. But it's for him, it's really about how can you help this team offensively 2 or 3 years from now. So continue to build on moments like this. Continue to hone your craft. He has some unteachable skills with his size, his length, his ability to box out. So this is a very fun prospect to track for the Buffalo Bills moving forward. Last but not least, let's talk about the quarterbacks. Last week, it sure felt like Matt Barkley was taking that quarterback 2 job over. And tonight, Matt Barkley was the first quarterback in after Josh Allen left. So it is a competition, folks. But when Matt Barkley took the field, it all went south. He had not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 turnovers. He had a fumble lost, and he had 3 interceptions, 1 in the end zone, which was just absolutely brutal. He had Dalton Kincaid open on the left side where he had at least one-on-one coverage. He tried to force it over the middle into coverage, took points off the board. Kyle Allen was not great. He was just a steadier hand tonight than Matt Barkley, playing cleanup duty in the mid-3rd quarter and the 4th quarter. 12 of 15, one touchdown, no turnovers. And at this point in time, I will tell you, with my concerns about the Bills' tackle situation, because we still have to deal with Brandon Shell retiring, Tommy Doyle left with what looked like a very serious leg injury in this game, and you just don't know what the Bills have at tackle, not knowing what the Bills are going to do about the middle linebacker situation. I am choosing not to worry about backup quarterback because we have Josh Allen, and I'm choosing to stand on the point of, if Josh Allen goes down, none of this matters anyway. And if he's only down for a couple of games, hopefully Kyle Allen and Matt Barkley are good enough to win half of the games they start with this roster that is perceived to be one of the better rosters in the NFL. Ugly game all around in Pittsburgh, but it is just preseason. I would give you all the advice to not stress out too much about it. Sean McDermott did say after the game that the penalty situation was unacceptable, but it's August 19th. They don't play a meaningful game for another 3 weeks, but they have a lot to clean up. They have positions to figure out in the starting lineup, which is a little bit odd for these Bills who have been fully formed up until this point in the Sean McDermott era. This is the first time there's serious questions about starting spots on this team. It'll be interesting to track as we move forward in this preseason. We have one preseason game to go. The Bills' next opponent will be in Chicago against those Chicago Bears. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this recap. Luca and I will be back for Bills Chat Podcast Monday morning. By then, I will have had time to go back and rewatch this game thoroughly, have much more in-depth opinions about certain players that did well, certain players that struggled, and we will give a full breakdown of this game and what we can take out of this game. And we look forward to bringing you to that on Monday morning. But while you're here, please hit that subscribe button. It helps us out so much as we are trying to build this YouTube channel. I am Josh McCarty. I will see you next time on Bills Chat Quick Chat.